I've been late. Definitely been late.
So hi guys, we're driving the 2007 Toyota Mark X. It's a 2.5 liter V6 and I've been super excited to drive this car. Ashok. I know we had this chat once and a big thank you to Damien for reaching out and allowing us to test his car out today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty chuffed too because I've always had a soft spot for the Mark X and, of course, the Mark II before that. So, just for those who don't know, basically, the Mark X is what replaced the Mark II. The Mark II is a legendary name in Toyotas. So, I don't need to go into the history of that. But the Mark X continues the rear-wheel drive platform with a 6-cylinder engine. Interestingly, the Mark II used straight sixes, while the Mark X is now on a V6. I think it's a 4GR unit. Am I right, Damien?
Yes.
And with direct injection, so it's putting out about over 200 horsepower to the rear wheels, basically. So it's basically, it is very much a sporty driver's car kind of thing. And I'm also really happy to be in this car, Mahen. I can tell you're excited.
I am
really excited.
I am very excited. We got our hazard lights on right now. I think.
Yeah, that's because we're having a bit of camera shake here. So let's just pull over and adjust the camera.
Give us a second.
Yeah, give us a second. These are little technical features.
So, okay, now we're back. So, Ashrak, I mean, this car is relatively rare in Sri Lanka as well. And I was super excited to actually do this review. What do you think about this car, Ashrak, overall? Now, we heard about the Mark II as well. How does it connect to the Mark II? Does it connect at all?
Yeah, it does. I mean, basically, I think you recall our friend Felina, who came on a drive with us, has a Mark II.
Yes.
That's from the GX100 generation.
Yes.
Which is basically 2 generations behind this car. So it's this car's grandfather, basically. After that, that's a boxy design.
Yeah.
And then you have the curvy design of the 110.
Yeah.
My uncle got a 110 in the early 2000s, and I remember that it was quite exciting too. It's long, white, smooth car with its inline straight 6 and all that kind of thing. And but when Toyota released the Mark X in 2004, what they did is first they changed the name.
Yes.
And I feel they also upgraded things a bit, like, for example, from the straight sixers, which was a very nice Yamaha Beam straight 6, to the direct injection V6 with more power.
Yes.
And then just looking around the cabin of this car, I can already see that it's got more rear space than a Mark II does. And you've got features like the climate control is now dual zone. You've got a proper touchscreen infotainment system here in Japanese.
Yes.
And there's a pretty interesting little thing on my door here. There are controls for volume and track changing and stuff. So basically, the passenger is in charge of the music, Mahen, not the driver.
Wow. Thankfully, you don't have control of that today since we're not listening to any music.
So otherwise, I'll find out what music you hate and play it.
I know, right? So what I've noticed is, Ashrak, I mean, I've been driving this car for just 2-3 minutes. It's super comfortable. Like, the suspension is great. And Damien, I think you did an upgrade on the suspension.
Yes, these are running tier coilovers.
Right. Right, it's not the stock suspension, but either way, I assume that this car would come with really nice and comfortable suspension. But this, to be honest, is very nice. I do drive a Verada 2000 3.5 liter, and that car too comes from a luxury kind of heritage. But the thing I've noticed is, more than the Verada, this car seems to be more comfortable. I guess it's also partly do with the fact that my Verada has bigger rims than the original. But then again, this Mark X feels really planted and really nice and smooth to drive. Even the braking, Ashrak, it feels really smooth. It actually feels a bit like a Lexus in here. And something interesting Damien told me was that this shares the same platform as the IS250. Am I correct? The Lexus IS250. But I believe this is a lighter version than the IS250, as this may not get as much components going in as the IS250 is more of the luxury version of this particular vehicle. However, as Ashrak said, in terms of space, in terms of how it feels inside, I don't think it's second to a Lexus personally.
Oh no, it's extremely comfortable. And just talking about the suspension, I noticed a button for adjusting the dampers, which of course now is not valid since you've got the tine coilovers.
Yes.
So in stock form, you would have been able to adjust the dampers between normal and sport modes. But of course, as we know, maintaining such systems in Sri Lanka is a bit difficult, not to mention fairly expensive
Yes.
when they go bad. So
Yes.
I think the decision to put the tine coilovers was a good one, because like you said, there doesn't appear to be any, sacrifice on comfort. I'm really enjoying the ride here. And also I should point out, this car is a Tiptronic. You're in
Yes.
sport at the moment, so you have, I think, Damien, is this a 5 or a 6? It's a 6 speed. So you have a 6-speed automatic gearbox.
And
play with.
correct, Ashok. And I'm driving this car very conservatively, especially since this is not my car. But maybe we can floor it in a bit and see how it drives. And we'll also show the viewers some rolling shots of the car as well, Ashok. This car is nice black car. It's not a midnight purple or anything else. I think my eyesight is quite okay today. And it's got matte black works rims.
Yes, bro.
And how big are they, Damien?
Yeah,
18-inch rims. I think it quite complements the car as
Yeah,
well.
it does. It fits the whole
The multi-spoke.
overall
Yeah.
personality of the car. And Damien has debadged it too, which once again is another very nice thing, because those who know what this car is know what it is.
Totally. And what I heard is, just like my Verada, it's very hard to find parts for this car in Sri Lanka. But I think you get used to it, and you tend to be okay with that kind of compromise owning a car like this, which is rare in Sri Lanka.
Well, I mean, I guess that's par for the course, Mahen. If you have a car that's a bit rare, a little less sought after by the mainstream, that's going to happen. But
Yeah.
of course, that also means that those who own this kind of car will most likely look after it better than the average person.
Totally.
Because we know a lot of Sri Lankans don't look after their cars properly, and we will be doing some videos on how to do that as well
Yeah.
in the future.
Correct.
Very simple things that you can do yourself in your garage, at home, or wherever you are.
Correct.
But for now, cars like this, I mean, it's one of the main reasons why we love doing this channel,
Totally.
I mean, like you mentioned at the start, Mahen, this car has been something, the Mark X has been something you've always wanted to check out.
Check
been
out.
the same with me.
Yes.
So we are both extremely happy today, and thank you, Damien.
Yes.
We are extremely grateful. to you.
Totally. And we got Dhirendra in the back as well. He
Oh, yes.
drives a Carina GT, and maybe that's something that we'll feature soon on our channel.
Yes.
Ashok.
And a tasty little nugget about the Carina GT that he drives, you wouldn't believe the mileage on it, and the fact that it's still going perfectly strong. But then again, it's a Toyota. Those
Yeah.
cars are bulletproof,
Yes.
90s Toyotas.
Yes.
So, I mean, he's kept it pretty good, and the fact that it still gives the driving pleasure that it would give when it was brand new means that, that those cars are absolutely awesome. And the
Totally.
Carina GT is another bucket list car of mine to check out. So,
Totally.
no doubt his car is going to be on our channel in the future.
Totally. And another thing I noticed is, Ashok, this meter cluster. It's so nice.
It is.
Look at this combination of colors. It's very sporty, but also understated, and it's got everything you need. In one glance, you see everything you need. And I would love to see this rev counter going up, as fast as I would like it to. But this road is a little windy, so we're taking it a little easy.
Well, once you take the U here and when
Yeah.
you get onto the straight stretch,
Yeah, maybe we can.
explore it a bit. And that's another good point. This analog the analog instrument cluster.
Yes.
I mean, digital clusters are nice. I mean, you could have whatever kind of cluster design you want and all that stuff, but nothing beats a really
Yes.
nice analog cluster. But
Correct.
here's an interesting piece of trivia for you, Mahen.
Yeah.
You know the Lexus LFA,
Yes,
Lexus
correct.
flagship supercar?
Correct. Yes.
They put a digital cluster in that, not because they wanted to,
Okay.
but because the V10 in that car can rev so quickly
Right.
that an analog cluster
Oh, it
just
can't
can't
keep
sweep.
up.
It can't keep up. So
Wow.
that's the reason why they put a digital cluster.
Wow, that's.
So you just
that's
extend your
interesting.
foot a bit now.
Yeah. Oh wow. Very smooth. Very smooth. Now, Ashok, I told you driving my car felt like driving a Boeing, right? But this
Yeah.
is like something else, man. It's way smoother than that.
I mean, I would
It's way
hazard a guess to say you can't call this a fighter jet, because then what
Yeah.
could we call a Ferrari and those?
Yeah, it's.
But the fact is, I think I would say, now, first of all, let's not use the Boeing analogy.
Yeah.
'Cause if I were to use that analogy, the Boeing I'm going to pick is not going to suit this car at all. So let's
Okay.
go with the Airbus.
Yes.
Let's say that your car is like an A350, maybe a fairly mid-large, twin aisle airliner, and this is more like an A320.
Yeah.
Because if you've been in an A320,
Yeah.
they're small,
Yeah.
but they accelerate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, you get off the runway very fast. So this is more like an A320.
And honestly, I'm blown away by the smoothness.
So am I.
It's very smooth. I know, Damien, you said there might be some kind of, you know, not so smooth times while driving the car, but however, I don't feel any of that right now.
High RPMs, you don't.
Okay. So
Well-
apparently at lower RPMs we'll notice it. However, I haven't felt it so far
Yet.
But as this vehicle is Damien's daily driver, he probably feels everything in this, just like I feel every
That is true, that
tiny
is
thing
true, I
in
mean.
my Verad as well.
And sometimes you feel every little thing. Yes, it happens to all of us who are interested in cars. And yeah, I think we are all guilty of that, hearing something, thinking
Yeah.
we're hearing something, rushing the car to the garage, and the garage guy to say, no, but it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
And that's one thing I appreciate about the people we use to maintain our cars. They
Yes.
don't just willy-nilly, go and put their fingers in it or remove parts. Like, I'll give you an
Right.
example. My car's in the garage at the moment for a tinkering repair.
Yes.
But I also felt like there was something up with the steering.
Yeah.
So when I went and showed it to him, he told me, yes, there is a tiny leak in your power steering pump,
right.
but don't go to open it up right now
Right.
because it's a waste of money at the moment, and there is not even a level change in the power steering fluid reservoir. So
Right.
you can go for another 6 months safely, and he knows how I drive my car. So yeah, I want it in perfect order.
Not him who's calling you, right?
No, it's not. It's not, thankfully.
You want to take it?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Anything else, Damien, that you feel like we should cover? Like, we spoke about the engine, transmission, comfort.
Oh yeah, Damien, tell us a bit about the
Yeah.
trips you've taken in this car. I mean, we did have a chat about some of the trips you've taken it outside. So let's tell our viewers where this car's been in Sri Lanka.
So after I got ownership, it's been to the more traditional areas, obviously on the highway to go all the Tango.
Oh,
areas.
nice.
But one of the most unique trips for us with Devendra as well, we've been to Norelia.
Norelia.
Norelia, if you have seen this car from the outside, you know this car is quite low. So
Yeah.
actually managed to go to Orton Plains as well.
Wow, it's
Nice.
quite a climb.
It
So
is quite a climb. And
So-
they pulled it like it was nothing, to be honest, with 4 people in the car and baggage too.
wow, that's
So
brilliant.
it's almost like an off-road.
That's brilliant, and I think we tend to underestimate certain cars. And for viewers who don't know where Norelia is, and if you're not from Sri Lanka, Norelia is at least 150 or 200 kilometers from Colombo, the epicenter of the country, and it's got a lot of climbs and narrow roads and difficult
The
terrain.
lovely winding roads.
Yeah, at some points, however, they say harder the climb, better the view, Ashok. And
That
I
is
think-
true. That is true. And some of those winding mountain roads are smooth tarmac. So I'm sure you would have enjoyed the drive in this car on those roads. Rear wheel drive chassis.
Yes, of course. Like, then, of course, who better stories to tell you in the back seat? How I
Right.
drive, but yes, of course I enjoy it.
Nice.
One drive a new model look for a long time. Anyway.
That's awesome. And I think now, Ashok, I've been driving this car for a while now. It feels so comfortable. So I think long distance must be like a breeze. Damien.
Yeah, it must be absolutely pleasurable.
Yes. And Damien also mentioned that he owns a Harrier from the year 2000, the signature two-tone, body color Harrier, which really looks nice, Ashok. And I think not just looks, I think even in terms of comfort and the whole package, I think that's one of the brilliant cars that Toyota put out back then as well.
True that, because they also made it under the Lexus badge, RX, the Lexus RX. So if they're making something under the Lexus badge,
Yes.
it's got to meet a certain level of comfort and luxury and sophistication. So
Correct.
in Toyota form, one could even argue that it's a bit over-engineered, but
Yes.
for Lexus, it's perfectly fine. So
Yeah.
you get to enjoy that with the Toyota
Yeah.
Harrier.
The smoothness, Ashok, the smoothness is just
Yeah,
not
this
even
is-
exaggerating it, right?
No, I can feel it. I mean, this road is less than perfect in some places,
Oh man,
and there we are. You stretch it out a bit, and
brilliant.
but you don't feel it in the passenger seat so much.
Correct.
It's, unless you look at the speedometer and see how quickly it climbs,
Correct.
you don't feel like vulgarly pushed back in your seat like that, like some
Correct.
cars with less power can sometimes do.
Correct.
I think that's all down to how this car has been engineered, not just to give a swift drive and quick acceleration, but also to be smooth about it. To not jostle your passengers and piss people off.
Correct. And this car has got 18-inch tires. I think originally, Damien, this probably comes in 16s or 17s.
So originally, the Escalade also comes in 18.
Oh, it does.
But
Okay,
the
right.
difference is the width. So this is around
The width.
2 235.
Right.
Originally it comes to 225.
Okay, interesting. And even the interior trim, Damien, does it only come in black, or it depends? You can
So
kind of pick and
obviously
choose.
this is a more of a fabric interior.
Okay.
But you have the leather variants as well.
Right.
That I recall comes in beige and grey too.
Understood. Brilliant. So the center console here seems to be the original center console,
Yeah.
Damien.
Yes.
Right. How do you manage now? Most of these buttons are in Japanese. I'm pretty sure now you know what they mean, although you can't read Japanese, maybe, or you can. We do not know that. But how do you manage now? I know there are certain limitations when it comes to original or stock head units, Damien, coming from different countries. How do you manage, like in terms of music, in terms of connectivity? Do you have any issues, or have you found a way around it?
Yes. So obviously, Japanese head units only go up to 90
Correct.
for radio station.
Correct.
So to override that, what we have done, if you can see at the bottom, there is a Bluetooth
Yes, I see that.
transmitter.
Right.
I obviously anyway prefer it, listen to music on Spotify. So
Okay.
uh,
Understood.
I usually put one in my morning drives. I put one of the playlists on and go with that.
Brilliant. And what I noticed was, Damien, once we started the car up, the AC also, you can control it through the head unit also, but you can also control it from these buttons over here, right, on the side.
Yes, correct. So you can't turn on the AC unless you press obviously the auto button.
Yes.
If you want to adjust the fan speeds, then you have to
Fan
press
speeds are always on the screen, right? Got it.
I think some of the newer 200 series Land Cruisers also have similar setup where you can only adjust the temperature or switch it on and off with buttons,
Right.
but fan speed and air direction and stuff is done through the touch
So
screen.
if your media unit goes bust, you don't have AC.
Well, you do have AC, it's just that you have to rely on the automatic mode
fair
to,
enough.
you can't adjust the fan
Yeah,
speed or where the
fair
air
enough.
goes. You gotta trust the car,
Yeah.
the car will know where to
But-
send the cold air.
Yes, but I think everyone would trust a Toyota, right?
That is true, that
Yeah.
is true.
And how many kilometers do we have on the clock, Damien? Let me
This
have a
is
look at
166,000.
166,000. Ashra.
Doesn't
Feels
feel like it.
25,000 or less.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
it. You've kept it really
Yeah.
nicely.
Hats off to Damien for maintaining a car like this for so long. I mean, this is pretty much brand new, and if I had the money, I would buy this, like, at the drop of a hat.
I think we all would. I mean, it's a fantastic car.
Okay, very comfortable, super bright.
Yeah, give it a bit of a, let's put the
Another
power
additional
mode.
gimmick I can tell you, this also has auto.
Auto parking. Wow, we should check it out.
Yeah, this is the check it out.
Wow. Okay, let me just pull over here, and maybe if you're cool, Ashok can
Looking forward to that.
do the rolling shots and can do a drive in my car as well. Let's leave it rolling, no?
Yeah, let's keep it on.
Okay. How's the sound system on this, Damien?
Mediocre, to be honest.
Is
That's
it?
what it sounds like your JBL. So
Okay, understood. But I'm pretty sure it's quite good.
it's sufficient, I guess, for a day.
Yes. Going at almost 80 right now. This is not one of those straight stretchers, so we're taking it a little easy.
A very planted car. And the Tiptronic gearbox, when you change the gears manually, you can really feel it does what you want, basically. There are some Tiptronic cars that I have tested, that brand new car, mind you, that you call for a gear shift and the car doesn't give it to you. And you're like, what are you doing? Why?
Fair enough.
I made the decision, you fulfill my decision. But this
Fair
car
enough.
is just, it's just reacting perfectly.
Fair enough. The thing with my Triptronic on the Verada, Ashok, is that whenever I go Triptronic and then get back to normal mode, there's something that happens with the gear changes and the calibration. So I don't use it that much. But yeah, like you said, this feels quite planted, and it goes, right? And you don't
It
even
does,
feel
yeah.
it.
You don't feel it at all.
Yes.
And I should also mention that the engine note is very, it's relatively hushed.
Yes. Is there a sports mode that you can turn on?
Yes, you're currently in sports.
Okay.
The gear level gets in sports.
Oh, right.
Additionally, the power
Very comfortable.
Right.
is the button on the left next
This
to
one.
the
Oh, right. Does it change the exhaust noise as well, Damien, or it just remains the
It
same?
doesn't change the exhaust note.
Right.
And it opens up all the cylinders when it goes to power.
Oh, I see. So, an interesting fact is the Royal Crown from, I think, the same era. I've been in one. It's one of
That's
those
the 3 liter.
luxury cars that Toyota kind of put out, and I think that too is very comfortable, just like the Mark X. And I felt the same as well. However, in that particular car, you select sports mode, then you hear huge change in the engine noise, the exhaust noise rather. But I think this car is meant to have a particular character, and then they retain that character with these kinds of settings, I guess. But yeah, very smooth, Ashok. How do you feel? How's the comfort like?
Comfort is amazing. Now I've put it back into drive and I've taken the power mode off,
Right.
and just seeing how it goes as a regular comfort cruiser now, and it's superbly easy to drive. Some cars, when you put them in like a regular or an eco mode,
Yes.
things get very dull. The
Correct.
throttle response gets
Correct.
sluggish, the steering gets extremely light. But here, of course, we've got none of that. And I'm guessing this has hydraulic or electric power steering, Damien? Electric. No?
100%
Sure, we need to
that's-
check that out,
that's
because
good.
what I'm feeling here is it has a good heft to it,
Right.
and it doesn't feel lifeless. I can
Correct,
feel the
correct.
road through it.
Correct.
This is the car you
The
talking
other
about.
market.
That's the other Mark X, the
Yes.
black color one there. No, we just passed it.
Essentially, it's
Wasn't
an
that an
Allianz.
Yes.
Exactly. So for the normal,
Yeah.
this look like an Allianz from behind.
To an
It
extent.
does to a certain extent.
From behind, yes. Fair enough. So we're passing Nilendra's Karina GT and my Verada.
This place got a bit crowded. A few cars here. No?
Probably watching us.
It would be nice if we had an audience like that.
And Ashok, so we are here down the passport office road in Sri Lanka, Battaramulla.
Yeah, night and day contrast, right? You come on a weekday and check this road out.
Yes.
You wouldn't even dream of driving a car here in any speed faster than
Yes.
30 kilometers per hour.
And if you were Sri Lankan and you lived through the fuel crisis in 2022, this is probably a very familiar stretch for you, because we spent hours and hours, in the hot sun waiting for petrol in queues that, ran into almost 200, 250 cars or more.
Yeah,
So that
dark
was,
times.
Yeah, that was a very hectic time for Sri Lankans who lived in Sri Lanka during the time. But thankfully we don't have that problem. But since we're on the topic, Damien, how much does this do on fuel?
I can clearly see it on the screen there. I will tell you.
I could say it's not.
not.
I would say it's not very efficient, and I think we owe Damien a full tank of petrol or something like that, Ashok, the driving we're doing today.
6.5, yep.
I mean, even my Verada is something like that, yeah. But I guess it's all worth it eventually, right? I mean, the comfort, the package you get, it's a rare car. And honestly, Ashok, I don't feel this kind of comfort in most modern cars, to be honest. I know, Ashok, like I am very critical about my car even, right? But
Of
like
course.
this kind of comfort, you don't get. It's the newer cars feel a little more stiff. I don't know whether it's just me. Am I biased towards older cars? I don't know. I am, but I feel in terms of comfort, like you can tell, the Royal Crown is one, and now next I felt this kind of feeling of comfort in this car, the Mark X. And I also remember the Prado 90 from late 90s.
Late 90s.
Even that, it feels like you're floating. And how's the ride in the back seat, guys? I mean, Damien, you never get to travel in the back seat, although you mentioned that Dhirendra did. So
I know answer that question. We didn't. We're sitting in the back seat. I know it's comfortable. but,
yes. Okay, maybe Dhirendra, how do you feel over there?
I enjoy myself driving. It's pretty comfortable. If you ask me.
Right.
As you can see, at these high speeds, it's chilling.
I know, right? We just hit 100.
Yep,
And-
I would say that's probably about 7 seconds.
Wow.
Just a
Brilliant.
seat of the pants
Yeah.
calculation, as they say.
That's brilliant, and I think this car is obviously lighter than the Verada, but then this is a 2.5 liter V6.
And just to interrupt you there, Mahena,
Yes.
I did that in drive, in regular,
Normal.
normal, no power mode,
Wow.
nothing. I just put my foot to the floor and let the car do its thing, So
Brilliant.
that's the other thing about this car. It has the modes you can enjoy, the sport mode, the Bitcoin, and all those things.
Yes.
But if you just want to get out there and drive it without thinking about modes,
Yes.
the car will do what you ask it to
For
say.
sure.
And there's one more interesting mode in this is you can turn off traction and then
Turn
do a
off.
power slide.
Turn off traction and do a power slide. So
We will not
is
be
that
doing
rear-wheel
that.
drive?
Saying,
Yeah, brilliant. So this is a rear-wheel drive car.
Rear-wheel drive
I think, I think overall this is an amazing package, Ashok. Personally, in terms of space, in terms of comfort, in terms of efficiency, maybe not, but in terms of power, in terms of what you want it to do, I think, man, hats off to Toyota.
Yeah. I'm just gonna pull over here because otherwise I'm gonna be driving this thing all day. I'm getting too comfortable now.
Yeah, totally. Right. Anyway, thanks so much.
Thank you so much,
Damien,
Dave.
and Dave for joining us. Yeah. Okay, so hi guys, we're driving the Toyota Mark X today. It's a 3.5 liter.
2.5.
Sorry, my.
No, start again.
Shit.